All right, so what you'll need for today's lesson is your sketchbook, pencil, and a ruler. And I'm going to use a Sharpie just so y'all can see it show up on the video here, but you can use a Sharpie if you'd like. You're also going to need a paper plate or a surface to mix paint on, rag or paper towels, a clean cup of water, a flat brush from your kit, and all of your paints. All right, we have 9 colors: red, blue, yellow, purple, brown, orange, green, black, and white. Okay, first thing you need to do is draw a 1 inch by 1 inch grid on your entire sketchbook page. So for mine, it's going to be 8 by 12. Remember to mark 1 inch marks on all 4 sides of your paper before you draw your straight lines. And make sure you connect the dots, making sure that they're not diagonal, but perfectly straight. All right, now I'm going to label the squares. What we're making is a color mixing chart, and we are going to make combinations of 2 colors by using the rows and columns. So this one is blank. All right, I'm gonna go down the first edge that has more blocks than the other edge. This one is, let's just start with red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet or purple, and brown. Okay, you also have white and black. And it looks like we're not going to need those, so just imagine you cut those off. All right, and let's do the same thing up here. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and brown. I just have black and white at the bottom, okay? You don't have to include black and white up here. All right, let's make this look a little nicer. All right, so color mixing. You can start anywhere on your color mixing chart. I just like to start from the top and go down. All right, so the first one I'm gonna start with is the combo of brown and red. So I've got my red paint, I've got my brown paint. Let's talk about the tempera paint for a second. So tempera paint is water-based, but we don't need to add water to it. It is not like watercolor. It already should be liquidy enough that you can apply it straight to your paper from the cup. But for this activity, it's all about color mixing. And these colors mix pretty nicely. We just want to make sure that we use the right proportions and we use the right techniques. All right, notice I put a little bit of red paint on my plate and then I washed my brush and dried my brush. We don't want to add water to the paints, and we also don't want to contaminate colors. So if I dip my paintbrush in the red and then dipped it in the brown, that means red paint is going to get in the brown paint and then it's ruined. So you want to make sure you wash your brush between dipping it in different colors, just to make sure it doesn't get too messy. All right, so I've got red and brown on my plate. Now I'm going to take my brush and mix the 2 together. See how I'm pulling the paint towards me, all right? And then I flip my brush over to mix, okay? I'm trying to use about half brown and half red for this. I'm gonna add a little bit more red because red is the primary color here. And then just paint a sample in your sketchbook. Try to stay in the lines, try to make it look nice and neat. But I got this like really nice kind of neutralized red color. It kind of looks like a burgundy almost. It looks nice. All right, so once you have a square painted, you wash your brush, dry it, and then move on to the next one. All right, next is violet and red. So I'm just gonna close up the brown for now because I'm not using it. Make sure you close up your paints while you're not using them because you don't want them to dry out. If for any reason they do dry out a little bit, you can add a little bit of water to it, but don't water it down too much. All right, so I put red on my plate, washed and dried my brush, grabbed some purple, and since we're just painting a 1-inch square, so you really don't need a lot of paint, just use a little bit. Kind of looks like a magenta. Okay, and I'm gonna go again. This time with blue. Well, there's a lot of blue on this lid, so I'm gonna kind of use up some of that, save some paint. Since red and blue are both primary colors, they make a secondary color, so this is purple. But it's definitely a different purple than the one that's in the cup. I feel like this looks much more like a natural type purple, like a plum purple, and not like an elementary type looking purple. That looks really nice. All right, so you may notice that some of the color mixing combos are going to overlap. Like there's a red and blue right here, but there's also a red and blue here. So what I want you to try to experiment with is whatever color is on this side, I want you to use slightly more of it. And whatever color is on the top, I want you to use slightly less of it. So this row right here is going to be shades of red and just adding a little bit of these other colors to it. This row will be shades of orange, shades of yellow, green, and so on. I can go ahead and paint the red on red. That's just red straight out of the tube. Easy. And then continue with the other colors. Oh, I got some water on there. All right, if you mess up, what you can do is just apply clean water to the area and then dab it off with a towel and then fix it with your paintbrush, just like what we did with the watercolor. You don't want to do that too many times though, because then your paper will start pulling up. All right, let's do these other 3 real quick just to see what the row looks like. All right, now that whole row is done and I've got all of these different varieties of the color red. Looks really cool. All right, you just continue with the rest of them and this will take you a couple class periods to finish, so I'll make sure to give you plenty of time. You need to consider when you are done with the paints, really make sure that the lid is on there correctly all the way. If your water is really dirty, definitely change it out every now and then. And when you're done with your paintbrush for the day, wash it in a sink with soap and water and then leave it flat to dry.